Wednesday, November 6th. We're in the classroom. We have a great class as always. So let's get started. I just greeted my students here live and explained to them for the upcoming things that we're going to be covering in the Photoshop module segment. All right, so let's go ahead and share my screen and we'll start the lesson in the classroom today. This is recording, good. So we're going to share screen. So this assignment already assigned to you on Monday, and I mentioned it earlier as well. Your first assignment is your under your Photoshop module. You'll see all the Photoshop assignments. There's only 2 assignments for this class. 2 assignments and 1 main project. That's your like exam, okay? So there's 3 items due for this class. The first one is a social media ad. I label that as Facebook, but that's because it started as a Facebook ad from years ago. And from then it evolved to, Instagram or whatever you want to make it. We're gonna stay away from video because it's only gonna be still images. We are gonna cover the video segment at the end, so you will know how to do an animation. So you could do a video as well later. For the TikTok stuff that you see, that's more like self-recording productions, right? But the fact that you can create an animation yourself will be really an added value to building these creative campaigns and ads. So let's start off with this one, the social media ad assignments. As you know, this is a very popular demand. I mean, every company now has a Facebook page or some kind of a social media presence, and they constantly need advertising because without advertising, these people are spending their money now more on social media than they do in other traditional means, like used to be newspapers, magazines, TV, television, radio, right? Now it's social media is taken over with advertising. A lot of the budget is allocated towards social media. So it's a good way for you to get your feet wet and to understand how to make an ad all in Photoshop. You could also use Illustrator, okay? But Photoshop is a nice way to control the image montage setup the way it's done. So I read this already to you on Monday. I'm gonna maybe quickly go over it again, not to read all thoroughly the whole thing, but you're gonna create a social media ad. Okay, they'll be featured on Facebook and Instagram, so you can cover both social media channels. And there's billions of people that use these social medias every month, of course. This is your project considerations. So you can obviously use Photoshop for this. So I don't want to see Canva or other programs that are there. Photoshop, okay? Because this is a Photoshop assignment. And trust me, once you learn the Photoshop program, well, after this assignment, you're going to feel that much more comfortable with using the software and your confidence will go up. Just like Illustrator. Just like after you made that beautiful application splash banner, and these other assignments I gave you, you gain that much more knowledge and confidence in the program. Same with this. It's the same learning step. So the JPEG format will be used for outputting it. This is the dimensions. We're going to be measuring things in pixels as we do always, 1080 by 1080 pixels and a 72 dots per inch RGB mode. This is basically a standard for any screen media design, whether it's television, websites, video, anything with the RGB projector, like the one we have 2 in this classroom right here. They use the RGB lighting combination to produce millions of colors. Here's your project expectation. So I want to see at least 5 layers, okay, including typography, and you should have like a caption on the message as well, like a heading or whatever the brand caption is. Could be like a slogan or something like that, an advertisement slogan, like Nike's is just do it, right? That kind of stuff. So put it in there to help boost the presence of the campaign. Various selection methods demonstrated. This is a necessity because without selections, you can't really build these things, right? Layer blends are also optional, and layer styles. I'll tell you what, we used the layer style on the motorcycle exercise on Monday. The shadow that we used, that was a layer style. And we transformed it to make it look like a shadow reflection of the bike. So that was similar to this, but I'll show you some more of that today in this exercise that we're going to do right now. I'm going to cover all these points. So I don't just throw you guys into the assuming that you know how to do these things. I'm going to show you how to do it, and then you guys just basically follow me along, right? I was going to say throw into the fire. That's a little too harsh. All right. A PSD format along with the JPEG for final submission. So you want to see how you produce an actual work format. Photoshop is only for you and me and for us because only we can edit Photoshop because we have the application. JPEG is what you deliver when you produce the actual ad. So that's going to go on your Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all these things. And the submission, of course, with Blackboard. All right. And this is an example of how it might look like. Now, you don't have to do this part because that's just a capture of how it looks like on, Instagram or Facebook. Your job is to do this. This is your main job, to do the graphics, okay? So don't worry about these other things. Some students did include this as well. That's fine. I welcome that. But my job is to show you how to create this, the actual design of the ad, okay? So again, you can do either one. What you want to present it. Presentation is, some people like to present things and frame them and do different presentations, right? So I can only give you the encouragement to do whatever you like, but I'm looking for the design mostly. All right. And that's obviously Lego. Look, has some typography. How many layers do you think this has? I don't have the Photoshop file. This is a real Lego ad, by the way. Like I just pulled it off the internet. How many layers does this have? So the text is one layer, the logo, another layer, the astronaut, third layer, the planets and the comets, another 4, 5, 6, 7, the background, maybe 10 layers. So 10 layers for you to control and assemble to make an ad like this. You can flatten certain layers after, but this is what it took to make something like that, right? But before I go any further, wouldn't you want to see some previous students' ads? That's right. Let's do that. So let me pull up some stuff from last semester. I like to keep my stuff fresh. I like to dig back even further, but sometimes I run out of space on my hard drive too, right? I got so many hard drives that back it up every, semester and stuff. So here I have the semester from before. Oh, that's the other class here. So we have the Facebook ads. So here we go, right? This is what you guys did. You guys, my same students that you guys were here, same classroom, okay, last semester. So this was the Facebook ad. Now, again, don't do this, okay? This was something that they put together. I got him to redo the ad actually. So here's another one here. So this was an ad that was done for Corona, okay? The Corona beverage, right? So you can see here how they use different layers and the buckets of the Corona and the logo and the beach and the people hanging out. If I was to open this file in Photoshop, I can show you how it was assembled just by showing you all the layers. So there's all the layers here. See all the layers that I'm showing you in Photoshop, right? So there's like the background, there's like the beer, and there's the logo, the crown, the people, right? So there's multiple layers to get this thing done. And the layers are all there, obviously, right? So that's how this ad was generated. Time is precious. Let's waste some. That's the caption. I don't think that's a real caption. You can have fun with this and make things up. That's okay, right? I'm not going to judge you and look at this and fact check the actual tagline for the advertising. But it's nice if you make it professional as well. Here's another one. This is a Foot Locker ad. Oh, my apologies. This is a Foot Locker advertising. So this looks like an Illustrator design, right? Because you can do this in Illustrator too, just like you did the application of Splash Banner. But Photoshop has a lot more elements to control when it comes to images. That's why Photoshop might be the winner here. This one has a lot of typography layers. So if you can see all these typography layers, you can see everything was done basically separately, right? So this was all done like that. Different layers were able to assemble this whole thing together. Okay, so Foot Locker, as you know, is the shoe company or the store. That's usually a lot of malls have Foot Locker. And they have, what's the other one that goes? Champs. Champs and Foot Locker, I think, are the same chain. They get you nice sneakers from there. All right, here's another one here. This is Delicious. It's a coffee company. It's a made-up company. I don't even think it exists, but another ad that was put together by the students for this social media ad campaign. And then there's another one over here. And this one was a Nintendo Switch, the game console from Nintendo. They did the very popular game called Fire Emblem Engage. And this one, I like the fact that it was taking, like I said, the presentation. You can actually make it look like a real, Nintendo post. So that kind of works well as well. You can do that. And you can see the Photoshop file, how it was done. So all the layers here, right? So all the stuff was put together with the games. And I think they did another assembly of the ad, and you can just make it look like an actual social media ad. But again, when you post it, it's gonna look like this anyways. So more, if you were to do the other examples I showed you, I'm okay with that too. You don't have to do this whole setup like you're pretending it's posted. You don't have to pretend because it's gonna look like that when you post it anyways, right? Depending on what social media platform you decide to use. All right, then there's this one here, okay? Anne's Garden, okay? It's like a flower shop. So see how the topics go all over the place, right? Foot Locker, Nintendo, Flower Garden, coffee, right? You can pick whatever you want, whatever you're into. So there's another one here. And there's another one, wax jeans for a woman, 50% off. It's an advertising. AMD gaming, okay? Some gaming platforms or a graphics card, I think. This is a graphics card, AMD, right? Then you have some luxury car rentals. Insurance company, Dragon Insurance. You don't want that to happen to you on the plane. Dragon come over and just blow some fire into the cockpit there. So you got to get some insurance just in case that happens. Have some fun with those, like a Pokemon there too, I think. All right, this is another one here. Canon. This one looked simple, but then I opened the file to show you how it was done. This one put a lot of work into this app. Like just to see this little camera here to zoom in, right? Because the whole point is Canon see the beauty in the world. Canon can really have the lens to see what's inside the zoom part of the image. So if you look at this little camera here that the student put together, just the camera alone, if you open this, look at all the layers that are in there just for the camera, right? So if you zoom in there, you can see how all these different aspects control the camera. Just this alone was like a little design by itself to make it look like it's zoomed into the Statue of Liberty. So really well done with the amount of work that was put into this, because you wouldn't know unless you open it up and see how it's done. So a lot of thought and purpose was put into that aspect ratio here. And of course, this was a blurred design as well. So it looks blurry on purpose. You do a focal zoom on the little small screen and a blur on the background. They do that in movies and TV shows. They purposely blur the background so your focal point is at the front. Photoshop can really do that. So maybe I'll show you how to do that also. Okay, they did a really nice job on that one. Maria, she did a nice job. And then there's another one over here. These are just, I forgot what this one, a creative agency, Winter Wider Arts. This is like a restaurant, I guess. Mama Poots. So more food. Buy a holy big Whopper, get 2 fries free. Okay. It's like a Burger King kind of mock-up ad. And what else do we have here? Cupcakes. Cupcake Camp LA. Cupcake Camp, Cupcake Camp finally coming to LA. All right. And then there's another example over here. Another ad that was a lot of work put into this one, believe it or not. Experience the thrill of conquering towering cliffs and breathtaking summits with us. Rocky Mountain Climbing Club. Again, if you look at these layers that were put in, a lot of design was put into this ad to make it look like that, right? So this was an image and this was a silhouette put on top to make it look like that, right? Nicely done. And then the logo here, like the Rocky, and you put the image behind the rocks, so it looks like it's rocky, right? So you can kind of do cool things like that with textures and typography, right? And Joy's Pizza. Again, just a made up name, I think. I don't think Joy's Pizza. It might be something called Joy's Pizza. But is it Joy's Pizza? You guys heard of Joy's Pizza? No. Probably getting you hungry from all these food ads. Too early. Kickstart the day from our press to your success, fresh off the press. Okay. Another fruit juice advertising. And lastly, upgrade yours. Fujifilm, another camera ad. I like this one because the hair and the typography, how it's done. You see this very popular trend on magazine covers. You see how the letters cover the head and they go back, they add more dimension. Like there's 3 dimensions when you do that. So you can just literally take a part of, let's say the hair in this case, and put it in front of the letter. So it looks like the letters behind and in front. There's 3 layers right there. Just to show you how that's executed here on the example. So there's this part of the lettering and there's that part of the lettering, but it goes behind the head, you see? Because the girl is clipped separately to create the illusion that it's in between. So it's 1, 2, 3 layers. And that's how you can produce this effect or this design, right? And of course, everything else is assimilated that way, okay? So once you learn Photoshop and the basic stuff that we're learning here and to more intermediate advanced, you can do any of these examples that you see. All right, so I think I showed you enough samples. What'd you think of these samples? Were they pretty good? Right. Some of them were nice. Uh, I mean, look, as far as making them look professional, I know we're learning Photoshop. It's supposed to be a little busy and have some fun with it. So I know some of these professional advertisements that I see, they're very simple. I get it. Like a color and some text and a picture, right? But we're learning Photoshop. Let's have some fun with this and let's really emphasize the capabilities of the software, right? I know Apple has simple advertising. They'll put like a little Apple symbol and a slogan, and that's it. There's their ad, right? So we're not in the business of that. I want you to pick something more challenging so you can put more graphics and images and, put these ads together to show me what you've learned in Photoshop, basically, right? So I want to see all the skills demonstrated. All right, so let's start with an example right here, right now. We're going to go open the Photoshop program. Let's go ahead. Since you're all here, let's do it together. This way you can participate and I can help you at the same time. This is how you really learn the stuff quickly and easily by having me here with you. So I'm just going to open up my program here, making sure my recording's working fine. And let's get started. Like I said, I'm going to pretend I'm doing this with you right now. I mean, you can even start the project now if you really like, but I recommend you put some thought into it first. You don't just start a project from scratch. Um, so we're going to utilize these sources for this example. If you go to the class 9, like this week I started on Monday, the class 9, but I dipped into last week's module because I had to finish my lesson files, right? So once we finish that, now we can start the Facebook ad, right? So the Facebook ad has a few resources. This is the image reconstruction exercise. I wanted you to partake into this community, and this Ramnika did a very nice job. Okay, very nice, very good. Wow, see. And then we have who else do we have? Albaraz, very nice. Abdullah Raz, very nice. Okay. And the rest of you, I encourage you to put your stuff in there to show me that you're kind of participating, right? And that to show me that you're learning the material I'm showing you. So please go ahead and propose the exercises that we do in class. It's not mandatory, okay, but I just have to encourage you to do it because I'd rather you invest the time into these projects and assignments because they're worth marks, right? However, I do look at that as well. So let's look at the MacBook Pro resources. Now, I mean, it just saves us some time than scouring images on the internet. Because if we pick a topic right now, let's say you were to pick, I don't know, Starbucks, right? So we're gonna go to Starbucks and get a logo, get coffee beans, get some of the images and save them and reconstruct them. And so that'll take us like a good 20 minutes, right? To waste in class. Rather than doing that, I already have something I had here from before. So let's just do a MacBook Pro ad for Apple. It's called MacBook Pro Resources. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to use all of these, but enough for us to get started. So click on this file here under class number 9 and download this MacBook Pro Resources folder onto the desktop. Alrighty. Let's examine what these pictures are. So we have a picture of a MacBook Pro laptop. I know they changed since that generation, but we'll just use it for now. We can always get a new one if we want. Then we have a picture of some of the internal components of the laptop. This shows the guts of the machine, the cooling fans, the processor, the motherboard, the graphics card, all that fun stuff. In case we want to do a nice little, maybe a transition to show what's inside, that'll be kind of cool. And then this is the actual keyboard. They discontinued this. I have the same one actually. It's like the actual it's the touch screen on the top of the keyboard itself. It's like a touchpad. It's kind of cool. I don't know. I guess it wasn't that popular. They stopped using it, but that was a cool feature when they did unleash it. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like a little touchpad on top on the screen. And a lot of programs kind of accumulated their own versions of it, and they would respond to it as well. And this is some of the speakers that were introduced in the software. So with these images that I have, we can just put an ad together of doing a MacBook Pro ad. What we're missing is a logo. Let's all go on the internet right now and get a MacBook Pro logo or just a Mac Apple logo. We can also make one in Illustrator, but I said I don't want to waste too much time with this making logos. We can just get one online. So I'm going to call it Apple logo. Watch this now. PNG. If you type PNG, it's going to give you a transparent logo, or we can just cut one out ourselves. Okay. This is a nice logo here. There's a more simple one. You can get any one you like. I'll go with this one for now. I'm going to right click, save this image to my folder with the rest of the images that I have. So this will go right inside my folder here. MacBook Pro sources and save the logo because we do need the logo, right? We should also go to the Apple website and see what their latest caption is and their brand messaging and things like that. So let's just kind of see from time to time. I like to go and see what Apple's up to. So this is a store, the best way to buy the products you love. That's their slogan for their store. And if you click on the MacBook Pro, choose your new MacBook Pro, it says. All right. So I think I'll stick with the original slogan here with their store. Hello, Apple Intelligence. We can actually reproduce that effect. I'm going to show you how to make the text glow like that and maybe have like a multiple colored effect. It's a pretty cool thing to do with this design. So we can maybe try something like that, okay? We'll do the Hello Apple. That's their new little design here. So maybe I'll keep that as a reference. Right, so let's get started. So the only thing I downloaded was this Apple logo, and it looks like it has the checkers behind it. I might have to get rid of those checkers as it's called a fake transparency, because if it was real, you wouldn't see the checkers, right? The checkers represent a transparency done in Photoshop. A lot of images on the internet I find have the same thing. And you have to basically extract it. Perfect. We can do that easily in Photoshop. So that's a good challenge for us as well. Okay. All right. So to get started, I'm going to go look at the actual criteria for the assignments. And that happens to be so first thing is, let's look at this area here, project considerations. So 1080 pixels by 1080 pixels and 72 DPI RGB color mode. So this has to be considered first off, right? And then this is what we're going to do with it. Okay, so this is the first thing we're going to choose 1080 pixels by 1080 pixels. We're going to go to a new file. We're going to go to web, okay, because web's our main category that we're focusing on. It automatically configures things in pixels, so this way you don't get sidetracked. And the width will be 1080. So I'm going to type 1080, and the height will be the same, 1080. And I'm going to turn off the artboards because we don't need artboards. So please turn that off. Otherwise, you might get a different result when you hit OK. So turn off the artboards, and maybe in a few weeks' time, we will use the artboards to make a website. So we are going to do different things with the artboards. So for now, keep it off because it's only one page design. It's just easier to work with the artboards not on, unless the intention is otherwise, but keep it off for now. Resolution is 72 pixels per inch. That's all you have to do. So 1080. Make sure it's pixels, not inches, because 1080 inches is different than 1080 pixels. Okay, the white background can stay at default. That's fine. Once you hit the create button, you're going to have this design. And again, I'm going to point out the importance of having the same user interface as me. So you're going to go to Window, Workspace, make sure it's under Essentials Default. This is important because then you're going to miss out on a lot of important palettes that you should have there. The tools, make sure they're set to 2 columns like this. So you can see all the tools available on the left, all the palettes on the right, and everything else in the middle. Any questions? Everyone's good? Okay, pretty simple. So now we're going to assemble the ad. First thing we should consider some kind of a background. What kind of background are we going to have? We're going to have a simple, solid color. We can use a gradient. Let's pick something. So we know how to use colors. We simply click on the color from here. We pick whatever color we like. Maybe this desired, maybe this, I don't know, light blue or dark blue or something. If we pick a blue color and we simply fill it by going to Edit, Fill, or just going to the paint bucket, which is right over here, gradient tool, paint bucket tool. G will take you there as a shortcut. You can just click and fill that color. But I think a gradient will look a lot nicer. So I'm going to go ahead and select the gradient tool. And a good way for me to demonstrate how that's used, we're going to go ahead and just hold Shift, click, and just use a gradient tool. I really like how Photoshop enhanced the gradient method because you can actually control, just like Illustrator, you can control the gradient points, okay? So you can even double click and change the color of this specific gradient swatch. So I'm going to go with like a light gray to a white fade. So I decided to go with the gradient background design, very subtle, something, easy on the eyes. We don't want to take away from everything. So that's how we're going to do it. I can even delete the background layer because I don't need it anymore. I'm just going to delete and just stick with this nice gradient design. So again, I use the gradient tool and this was set to black and white. The basics, black and white's right there. You can access any colors or mix any color you want. Just simply make the gradient and then double click on these swatches to pick any color of your choice, right? You can do that if you wish. All right, the next thing is we'll put as a montage. So we're building the ad from the size that we see. So basically, the approach is to put everything in the placement or the cooking pot, as some people would say. So we're going to put everything in here. So we're going to go File, Place, Embedded. Now, I like embedded over linked because linked could get very confusing if you're not keeping track of your sources. Linked is like making a website. The images are linked. So if they're missing, you break the website. So sometimes you want them to be embedded. This way, if your image goes missing, the design is still intact. So please go ahead and use the embedded feature. It's a little more safe proof. And if I go back 5 years ago, there was no linked or embedded. There was only one called linked, and the default was embedded. So that's why embedded is the original way to place images in Photoshop, okay? So use embedded for now, and I'll show you what link does in another example some other time. For now, just stick with the basics and the essential ways, okay? So place embedded. Now I'm going to go to the desktop here and dig into my folder of the MacBook Pro sources. I'm going to grab this interesting background. It's got like the guts of the computer. That might work really nice with my design. Let's try it out. So I'm going to go ahead and place this here and just maybe resize it, right? Like that. And press enter. Whenever you resize or place, you have to press enter to acknowledge its placement and size, location, right? And this has like a white border, which I'm not too fond of. So I'm going to get rid of this white edge of it by simply using the magic wand. So watch this, magic wand tool. Click on the white border like that and press delete. But it's going to tell me, hey, you can't delete a smart object because when you place an image, Photoshop treats it like an object because it's like a placement. So if you want to like edit it, you have to rasterize it. And rasterize means you just have to right click, rasterize. You convert it to pixels because Photoshop is a digital program. It loves pixels. So say, listen, if you want me to do something with this, make it into pixels so I can understand it. So it's like the same language you're communicating with. So you're like, okay, thank you. Go ahead, press OK. Now it's converted, right click. Let me just go to rasterize layer here. Rasterize layer on the very bottom. You're converting it to pixels. Once you do that, now Photoshop can do whatever you want it to do. You can just hit delete. It'll delete those pixels, right? So rasterizing the layer is important when you want to edit the images. And then you just simply click away or select, deselect. Hey, look, there's another thing here I got to get rid of called replay. So for that one, I'm just going to use the rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to select this and press delete and click away to deselect. All right. See how my images are looking here? All right, so I'm going to leave this here for now, and I'm going to go ahead and place the other images as well. So I'm going to go File, Place, again, same repetitive steps here. Place Embedded. I'm going to grab the other one of the MacBook Pro laptop this time and place it here. So it's like this. Press enter. Same thing. If I want to get rid of this white background, which is very common, a lot of images will have this white background. You want to get rid of it. You got to right click, rasterize the layer, right? And then you can use the magic wand, click on the white background, delete, and deselect. So you might have to do some of that stuff to clean this up properly, right? I'm just going to put this on top. So it's like part of this kind of design thing that I'm working on. Well, this has some of the white edges. See, there's some left over here. For that, I'll use the rectangular marquee tool. Just make a selection, press delete, and deselect. That's going to be just that. I'm going to click on this layer, press Control T or Command T, and just resize it smaller. So it's going to look like this is part of the actual design, right? So it's showing you a little bit of the guts and a little bit of the laptop at the same time. I don't like how this is so drastic, right? So I'm going to show you how layer blends work. Layer blends is the way Photoshop blends images together at the same time. So let me just hide this image for a second and focus on this one. This is a layer right here. And a layer, all layers have layer blend modes. The layer blend modes are up here. Look, this is called opacity. You can make the layer more or less transparent, right? This is the layer blend mode right here. Normal. Normal is the default, right? But if you go to darken, multiply, color burn, you see all these different layer blend modes you're getting? This is how you can do a nice layer blend mode from different things. Now, you might not see much because I have a gradient background, but if you have two images on top of each other, you'll really see a difference. So watch this. Let me do for this one, I'm gonna do, I'll do this, okay? I'll do what's called a vivid lights. But this one now, on top of that one, watch now I'm gonna blend this. Not that you're gonna do blends with everything, but just to show you how it works so you can understand. Watch this. I'm gonna make this to, look, see? See how it's blending without using opacity? The colors blend based on how they interact with one another. This is more like an experimental thing than, like, I don't know the results just by knowing the option. I got to visually see what it does. So you got to try it to see it. So you got to try different things and see if it works. If it doesn't work, then don't use it, right? It's all about you. So try different things. I'm going to leave this one alone. I don't want to use this layer blend. It worked okay for this, but not for this one. So I'm going to just leave this as is, right? Like that. Because it does show the background pretty cool and interesting with this layout. All right, let's bring in some of the other things we have here. Let's go file, place, again, embedded. I'm using the same repetitive steps here. This time I want to bring in this touch bar. I'll be honest with you, it's discontinued now with these newer models. Maybe I'll introduce the speakers. I don't know if I can even have room for these images. Let's bring the touch bar in. I mean, sure, I think it's a nice, who knows, they might bring it back again, right? I mean, Apple always has new exciting things to share with people. This one, this one I'll blend it, right? I'll put this one in the back. Now watch this. I'm gonna put it behind the laptop and then blend it with the blend mode as well. So it's gonna be really, really blended with everything that's there. Looking a little too busy, but we'll figure this out somehow. Let's see what else I can do with this. Maybe I'll do like a soft light, right? And look what I'll do. See this little white gaps in between? I'll use the magic wand. First, I'm gonna rasterize the layer. The magic wand, I'm gonna click inside the white. I'm just gonna delete and delete, right? So I just deleted all those little white parts. And you know what else I'm gonna do? I don't like this hard finish. I'm gonna blend it softly. So it's like fades right in. So I'm gonna try to do a nice fade. A lot of these images look too disruptive. Now, I know this is a busy MacBook Pro ad, but I wanted to show you the Photoshop stuff. So otherwise, if I was to do a real Apple ad, I'll just put the Apple logo here, done. Right? Just Apple logo, right? That's pretty much what Apple likes to do. And maybe put the product in there, right? But I want to challenge myself and show you Photoshop stuff. So I'm going to go all out here with this, okay? So let's go ahead and make this blend work. So to do that, identify the layer, which is the keyboard. I should call these layers too. So keyboard, right? Keyboard. This is screen, this is screen. So the keyboard layer, right? What you're gonna do for this one is you're gonna go to, this is an advanced thing. I'm gonna have to do an exercise with this to show you better, but just for now to demonstrate it, it's called a layer mask, reveal all or hide. You can use either one of these. What a layer mask does, it's like put it on a mask. It hides or reveals part of the actual image. So watch what happens to the thumbnail beside that layer that I've selected. See this little white thumbnail that showed up? That's the mask. And mask works with a additive or a subtractive substance, black or white. So if I use a brush tool, the brush tool here, I'll make the brush size bigger by pressing the squiggly bracket. The black will hide the mask. If I press X, if I bring the white, will reveal the mask. So you can do reveal or hide, do some really, really nice things with this adding or subtracting mask attributes. So what's better than me using a brush is using the gradient tool. So watch how nice this will be now. Here's the gradient tool. I'm going to go with the black and white gradient, right? Now watch this. I'm going to go from here to there. Hold the shift. I'm going to do a nice perfect blend between this image to that background. So it looks like it's fading in from black to white, which means mask to unmask. This is a very powerful technique that works really well with many, many things. It's called a layer mask. And you can see how the layer mask works there with the black and white gradients. Okay, the white reveals and the black hides all the other stuff. So this was something maybe I want to do with the background. So it's kind of like, you know, a little more, not as evasive for the other parts. All right, now let's see what else I can bring in here. We have this one. I don't know if I'm gonna, I guess we could try it. Yes, drag and drop works too. I can literally go drag and drop into Photoshop. Okay, I just use the place method to be more, you know, proper about showing you how to do it right. But you could do drag and drop. The difference is the same. You press enter, and this is your, oops, and this is your next. Make sure you're in the move tool when you move these around. So this is how you can do your other stuff here, right? So this is that one there. I don't know what I'll do with this one here. Maybe I'll move it to the side. Let's get rid of this white border. So I'm going to right click. Remember the steps. You always have to rasterize the layer. You rasterize the layer, and then you can go ahead and click on the white edges, delete them, deselect, and then put this into place. I'll put it right there. Maybe this I'll do a layer mask as well. I'll fade it nicely downwards, and I'll put it to the very back of everything. It'll be maybe like that. And perhaps, oops, perhaps a blend mode for that as well might work really nice, right? Maybe I'll do an actual color burn blend mode, right? Right. Okay, so I got all these images now into this MacBook Pro, very unorthodox, busy looking at, but that's fine. We're getting there. Now let's bring in let me show you another method. Drag and drop, file place. How else can you assemble ads in Photoshop? You can literally go file open. You can open things separately like we did in the exercise on Monday. I can go open. Let's say I open the logo. See the logo? I can open the logo separately. I can open an image separate. So this is open and that's open, right? So I can select what I want and copy and paste. I can do that. This eliminates you rasterizing and selecting the white edges and deleting them. This is another way. So what I'm going to do here is use the quick selection tool, or maybe I can use the object selection tool, go inside the apple and just go click. But look, it's not perfect. It's catching some of the other parts that I don't want. So I'm gonna have to maybe find another strategy. Let's try the quick selection tool. I'm just gonna go and select this apple here and select the little stem, right? So I selected what I want, not the background. I'm gonna press copy, go over here, click on the move tool. Always, always be in the move tool before you go paste. And then Command T, which is transform, or Control T, and this will become the Apple logo, right? Shoot, sorry guys. Turn this thing off. So we're gonna go ahead and put this Apple right here. Boy, this is like a 1980s Apple ad now. So kind of like a very old ad, right? Okay, so then I'm gonna put the slogan over here, and then there's the Apple ad that we're gonna hand in for this one, right? So we're going to now go ahead and select, do some typography, right? Oh, let's make this Apple glow. Like when we go to the Apple website, you have this glowing effect, like it's multicolor glow effect, right? How do we achieve that kind of look? So in Photoshop, what you can do is basically double click on the layer that you want to apply the glow to. So if this is the Apple logo, right? You can double click right here and you can do what's called, ready for this one? Outer glow, right? It's an effect, right? The outer glow effect will produce whatever glow you're looking for. So for this color, I'm going to pick maybe, I don't know, maybe the blue might look better because it's got a lot of blue in the background. Perhaps this blue, that blue. You can pick the type of color you're looking for the desired glow. Be careful because this affects the effects quite tremendously. So make sure you select the right spread, the right size, right? You can select the right color, the opacity, the blend mode. All this, takes in effect with what's going to be, resulting in your design. Okay, so that's how you do a glow basically. To do a multicolored glow, I think they did 3 different versions and blended them together. It's a little more tricky. I can probably show you that with the text, but for the logo, we'll just keep it simple for now, like this. Right? Let's turn this off here. Right? So this is how the glow works. It's a simple. You can do a drop shadow. That also enhances stuff. Since we're on this layer style method here, you can do a bevel and emboss. You can do lots of cool effects. But the rule is this: do not do more than 2 at the same time, because then it looks look at this. It's gonna look too artificial, right? Then it's not gonna look the way it's supposed to. But the stroke looks nice. The white stroke kind of cleans it up nicely with the glow. Might give it a nice touch. And maybe I'll turn off the drop shadow, right? I'll see. Whatever looks good. So I got 3 now. Drop shadow, outer glow, and stroke. And no bevel and emboss. Turn that one off. Right? Actually, doesn't look a little bit too much with the 4, but that's fine. Just to kind of show you all these things. And this is all experimental. Yes. So if you double click on the layer, I said 2. I just use 4 in this one. I can use 4 if I want. Very rarely, though. I got lucky. Honestly, I would not go like this. This is a little too busy to ask, but I just want to show you what the things can do. But it doesn't look that bad actually, right? Because it does enhance the logo. Like it's got the stroke, it's got the drop shadow, the glow, and a bevel at the edge. So this combination, believe me, it might work. Other combinations, not so much, right? But the rule of thumb is 2. If you can use 4 and it looks good, that's fine too, right? So there's no real number to say, don't use this, don't use that. I just want to put it in perspective. You understand? Okay. So yes, I did break the rules. I went with 4, but I got away with it. So it looks okay. All right. Next, let's put some text in here because Apple has its own caption of this hello, Apple Intelligence. Right? I mean, I can literally copy this and just paste it here and drop it in there. Hello, Apple Intelligence, right? I can grab it from their website, right? Now, the thing is, I got to show you how to make this, not just copy it from someone. How about if you want to change the wording, right? You want to control it. So let's type in our own stuff. You put some text in here and you type hello, Apple Intelligence, right? That font is definitely not going to work. So I'm going to go to the type tool and match a font that's kind of similar to their font there. What the heck is going on here? It's like stretched. Let me see here. Oh, this is why it's minus 60. This is your typography tools. You have to make, I suggest you do a reset for me anyways, for you don't have to because you probably never used that before in your program. But if it gets all messed up, just go to reset and then you can actually go ahead and do the whole thing again. A reset character, there it is right there. And now it's going to be back to default. Basically, I'm going to go ahead and integrate the same message here and try to do the same effect if I can. So the A is capital, right? So you can type whatever you want, right? Oh, come on. Wow. All right. So we're going to use this one here. The color effect will be basically, let me see here. What's this? Regular. I'm going to go with semi-bold. So it's kind of more enhanced that way so you can see it better. Okay. And we're going to try to produce the same little glowing effect here by double clicking on the side of the layer. You can also go down here on the layers panel and pick a layer effect this way, right? But you can honestly go to layer, see the layer menu here. You can do layer style and do this way too. There's always 3 or 4 methods of doing the same thing. So whether you want to use a menu, whether you want to use the palettes down here, same thing. I like to just double click. Don't double click here because you get to rename the layer. If you double click here, you highlight the text. So where do you double click? You double click all the way at the edge of the layer. Double click there, then you get this to show up, okay? Just remember that. Just double click on the side and the thing comes up, and then you can just, go whatever you want to do with this. So I'm going to do what's called a gradient overlay. I like to mix a mix of colors just like Apple has on the gradient overlay. I'm going to pick my own colors. So this one will be perhaps the, maybe this blue over here, right? The light blue. And I'm going to pick this one to be this purple color, the purple pink color, fuchsia. And this other one will be like the reddish yellow. I'm going to go ahead and do that one and pick like the red color, right? And then I'll finish it off. And I'm going to move these over like this, right? And lastly, I'm going to finish off with this orange color. So how do I make another color? You can just click to make a new color, or to delete a color, you drag away. You just click down. But if you click to add a color, you click on the color, you can pick your own color or sample the existing color that's already there. I'm just going to match one here with this. We're going to spread these ones out, right? And then we're going to basically scale this to be, I guess, 100%. And go this way. We'll go that way. Depends how the gradient's going to be executed like that, right? So this might work similar, right? Anyways, you get to mess around with it until you pick the right spectrum of colors. I think there's a little bit of a brighter setting in there as well. Right. And then for that one, you have the glow as well. So you have the outer glow, and the outer glow is what makes the colors a little more enhanced. So I'm gonna go with the white glow, perhaps. They got the different color glow. I gotta figure that out. They use probably a different technique. Maybe I can try different layers or something. I gotta figure out how to do the different glow color. Right now, it's not coming to my head, but you can do a different color on the type like they have. You can kind of match it if you want. What I'll do is I'll do like a simple stroke just to kind of have this. I'm gonna break the rules again with this, but the stroke. Look, to change the properties, you have to click on the tab, then you get the properties to show up. Otherwise, if you just hit the check mark, nothing's going to happen. So you're going to click on the properties and then get the tab. And then I don't think this is working exactly as I wanted to here. Maybe it was the white one. Okay, whatever. Right? I'm going to fit this in there as part of the screen here. All right. So I borrowed their tagline and I was trying to reassemble something similar. I'm sure if I spend more time and investigating, I can come up with something, but pretty close. We got the glow, the multicolor effect, pretty enough to kind of go with it. And then we have the logo. All in all, this is how you assemble the ad, putting text, images, logos, branding, graphics, whatever you're into. You saw the examples that other students did, and pretty much you have some fun and you get the ad together. Okay. Now, when it's all said and done, what happens is this becomes a Photoshop document. So always save this as save as. This will be called Apple ad in progress. I'm still working on this. It's not done yet. So I'm going to save it as a Photoshop document on the desktop into my folder as a Photoshop file. Now, I want to see your Photoshop file because if you show me a JPEG, how do I know you got it off the internet and just say, here, I did this, right? There's like millions of ads out there, right? How do I proof it, right? So basically, show me your work, show me your layers, so I know basically you did the work, right? So then once you finish the work between us, then it's time for you to publish it to your clients or to the internet or on social media. Social media won't accept Photoshop. You can't post Photoshop document on Facebook. Won't let you. Photoshop is asking for a JPEG or a PNG. So how do you spit out a web format? You simply go to File, save a copy. When you save a copy, once you save the native Photoshop format, you can go ahead and select a JPEG from here. You can do a PNG if it's transparency for other website design reasons that you might want to generate graphics for. JPEG is great for images with many colors, as you see this one. And I'm going to call this whatever the name is. Hit save, and the quality will be 12, which is the maximum quality that I want to enable for this JPEG because it's a lossy compression. Every time you save a JPEG, it deteriorates in quality. Over time, it gets worse and worse. So that's why you want to make sure the quality is maximized. You're going to hit the OK button, and that's how you do the ad. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and close this one down. So here's the Photoshop document, and here's the JPEG format for the adverts. Okay. Right. Apple will really not be happy with this design. But I think if I give it another try, I'm sure we'll do something better. I'll probably delete a lot of stuff and keep it more simple according to their standards. And, whatever. You can do whatever you want. Basically, once you have the skill set, the design, the creative part is up to you, right? So I'll leave it up to you guys. My job is to show you as much as I can in terms of getting as much features as possible in there. So I hope this kind of solidifies all these topics and reinforces you to learn stuff I already showed you and some new things along the way. On Monday, I'll do another lesson of some other advanced things you can learn in Photoshop. This is due next week, so you still have some time to think about what you want to do, start executing it. Right now with this video, I showed you how to start it from scratch. The document size, placing images, collecting images from the internet, putting it together, assembling the ad. And it's not difficult once you get your hands on it. All right, so thanks for watching. This wraps up the video. Hope you had some fun, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. All right, so until next time, have yourself a great week, and I'll see you later. All right, bye for now.